accept, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other two. That was 6 and 7. The 6, I'm gonna say ignore, add my own little schedule here. And that should fix that problem that he has over there going into setback. Same thing. So it'll now follow its own schedule. That's one way of doing it. I'll show you another way that we could have done this as well, and that's flexibility of this guy. So 6, 5. So now when I look at it,
That one you did show AM to AM.
9 AM to AM, 7.
Touches the other one, AM to PM.
No, it'll be AM to AM. So it's just start at the same time you're gonna end, which is always, but yeah, they should all be the same, and then 6 should be the same as well. Okay. All right. Another way I could have done this. See this scheduling groups down here?
Mm-hmm.
If I clicked on that and I add a group down here, I could have called this pharmacy. Right? We'll just keep it new right now. And then add members to group. And then what I do is I could actually go in here and pick those 3 units, 6, 7, and 9. I can add them in, and then I can put a schedule in there too. So I could group things together and do that as well. If we were doing and we had a larger system with a bunch of rooms that we wanted to group for different schedules, that'd be one way to do it. Right now, it's just as easy to go into each one of those and just 3 of them and do it that way. So that's just another way you can do it. Okay. So this is how we would set up, for instance, like a gymnasium or a cafeteria or something like that for a school. You know, they're going to have the normal schedule of weekdays, and then they're going to have all these events that are going on in there, basketball games, you know, volleyball games, all that kind of stuff. So we go in and group that in. You know, maybe it's a concession stand, a bunch of gym units, all that kind of stuff would be in a group, and you can set up your schedules well in advance, you know, for all your games and all that stuff. So that's the nice thing about this schedule groups. So I'm just going to cancel it. We don't have anything here we need. I'm going to go over here and delete it. Okay. But again, I'll have that in this little tutorial I send you.
Can you go back to the floor plan again? I want to say the 2-3 is also pharmacy. That's going to be the retail.
2-3
part.
is well on the first floor.
The one that says blue 69.
That guy right there. Okay, so make him a schedule as well. So let's go into schedules. Do the same thing with him.
They don't keep medicine in that room, do they?
Not right now. I don't know what his plan is when they open it.
Okay.
You want to call it something different or just
No,
keep it
it's
as
gonna be
normal?
fine.
Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. So all those guys got their own schedule. While we're in schedules, just for the heck of it, let's just say I pick one and it's normally going to be, you know, shutting off. If I ever wanted to override it, all I have to do is click on schedules. There's several types of schedules that I can add. Notice I did the normal schedule.
Mm-hmm.
There's a holiday schedule, which turns something from on to off, just the opposite of a schedule. Most schedules are turning it off to on. So if I wanted to put everything in a holiday, I can go in and put everything in a holiday and just turn everything off for a specific period of time. I don't see that happening here. Or an override. An override has the highest precedence of any of the schedules. So if I wanted to make sure that this guy was following my schedule and no one else's that somebody put in there, I would create an override, and then that overrides everything. Okay, so there's some
That's what a
levels.
person, that's what a person who just turns the air all the way down, you keep telling them, stop putting it on 55.
Yeah, that's right. You can override it and say, I'm always going to send you back to whatever value I want you to be at. Okay, so those are just some things with schedules. Okay. So just kind of going across the top, graphics get you in there to change set points and look at how things are working. Properties, really just this control. If I click on a controller and I click on properties, it just gives me more data under this control program tab. Okay. If I click on Burke County Hospital up here, again, it's hierarchical. So what I want to see when I click on these top tabs is either everything or one individual piece of equipment. Right? So if I want to see everything, I click on the highest level in the tree. Then I can click on alarms, and that shows me all the alarms in the system. Right now we have 21,900 alarms. Okay? And that's been in there since this server has been online. So what we're going to do, see this advanced button down here? I'm going to click on advanced. I'm going to say acknowledge every alarm in the system. And it's going to start taking that number down over time. Okay. The way iView works is, in order for you to remove an alarm out of the server, iView wants to know that somebody saw it. So somebody has to go in under their credentials and say acknowledge. I acknowledge that this alarm existed in one time. So once they all get acknowledged, then we can delete them all. Okay, so we'll come back to it while it's acknowledging all those alarms. Okay. How I like to do alarms, notice we got a lot of trend errors. I'm going to have to go in here. It's looking for data that's not there. So I need to go in there and fix that so we're not getting all these are all bogus alarms right there. It's looking for a piece of data to try to trend that's not there. So it's saying, hey, I can't see it. I'm going to show you an alarm. So we'll fix that. Okay. So we'll come back to the way I like to do alarms, though, is when we truly have these alarms that are ongoing, I hardly ever even look at this view. What I do is I'm going to click on Burke County Hospital, I'm going to click on alarms, and then instead of view, I'm going to go right to reports. Okay? And under here, I can run actions. What type of actions am I having with these alarms or doing with these alarms? Where are the alarms coming from? Or what are the alarms? So if I click on alarms and I say run, it's going to run a report. We've got to fix the columns. It's going to run a report and show me all the alarms in the system, and it's going to give me a nice page, once I fix the columns, of the alarms and where they are and what controller they're on and all that. Now I can save it as a PDF file or an Excel file or something like that, and I can sort through it later on down the road. You know, what are my temperature alarms? What are my, other alarms that might be in the system? Let me fix this. Options. Let's do support that. That should fix it. All right, now let me try to run it and see if those columns are better. It still doesn't like it. Okay. Oh, that's why. Try to fit them on a smaller page. There we go. That'll fix that. So now it'll look a little better. But that's what I do for alarms. I'm going to click on either an individual controller if I want to see what alarms were just happening with this particular controller, or I click on Burke County Hospital and I run alarms report for everything. Okay, and then I can save it later on down the road. Okay, it's a lot easier than paging through all the alarms on this page here. You only get 25 on a page, and then I got to go through and look at them all and all that good stuff.
Oh, 21,000.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Trends. So if I click on the Trends tab, and I'm up here on Burke County Hospital, I can trend any one of these controllers. Notice it opens up a new window. Let's say I want to go on the first floor, and I want to look at the pharmacy. We'll pick on HP number 7. This is all the data that we can trend coming from that controller. So if I want to look at the room temperature, I can click on that, and there it is over a period of time. Okay? And I can kind of move around and see what time I'm looking at it. It actually gives me the values. I can hover over it, right? or I can say, just give me, from 8 a.m. to, 9:30. I can scale into it, right? So we're going from 69 to 70, not a whole lot. It looks like a lot, but it's only the range is only 1 degree. So we're not seeing a whole lot on this. So that's what I'm looking for. But I can see more than one thing. I want to look at the room temperature, but let me see, what the unit state was over a period of time. Was it in heating or cooling? If I can go up here, I can look at set points, the cooling status. Set point status was 70, right? And then I can start moving these things in here too to see the actual temperature going above and below those set points. So all sorts of things I can do with trends in here, okay? And that's the nice thing. If we put something like in the OR, I can be looking at temperature, humidity, and pressure all as one, and then I can go over here and notice I've got a report that I can do for these as well, for trends. So I can run a trends report, and add one in here and say, okay, show me this data. Instead of showing it to me in a trend format, in a graphical trend format, give it to me in data format. I can do that here too. If I click on this, save this as a CXV file or a PDF, right? So now I can actually have the time that it happened, the actual date, the date and time, the actual data for that value, and I can have it over a period of time, so I can have a report that I can show somebody. Okay. Certain things are going to give you more trends. So for instance, this unit, notice I've got all sorts of information. I can look at the leaving air temperature on that unit over a period of time. Let's go ahead and do it over a day. There it is over a day. I can look at the building pressure over a period of time along with it. So this is how we can go in and start troubleshooting something. What was the unit doing over this period of time? Was it in cooling? What was it in heating? What did the discharge air do when we told it, to change its set point? All that kind of stuff. So now I can run trends on this and look at it over a period of time. Okay. And this server is a pro server, so you can run as many trends as you want. Okay. Most of them are set up for 7 days. If I wanted to see something for more than a 7-day period, if I pick that value, okay, hit this drop down, see this thing called enabled points, like air temp value, and I go in here and configure it, I can then set it up for, 30 days, something like that. Looks like this one was only set up for a day. 30 days, 0 hours, so forth and so on. So I can set each trend up with different values, okay? And I can look at it over a period of time. All right. So that's trends. Pretty, just playing around in there. Again, if something pops up and says accept or cancel and you're not sure what you do, just hit cancel. You're out. And the last one's reports. Right? So if I click on reports, these are all the types of reports. I can run an alarms report. We talked about that. Commissioning equipment, those are reports that somebody like Ryan or myself would run. We want to go in after we did a commissioning of a job and look at all the points of control, how we left them. And we do that for our own as-built, needs for a job and stuff like that. Schedules, I can, again, if this is a school, be a little bit different. I may have all these schedules that I set in there for all these events and all that. I might want to run a report, just like the alarms report. Now it shows me all the schedules I got set up for the next several months. Make sure they're correct, that kind of stuff. Security. So if I do a location audit log report, it's going to show all the things that I was in there doing today. Right? So it shows everybody. If you had a bunch of people with different credentials, it shows their credentials, what they did, how long they were in there. And again, it's not to snitch on somebody. It's to say, hey, this guy changed this to this value at such and such time. That's why this happened. That kind of stuff. So it's a nice little report that you can run there as well. Okay. And then the report manager, that's where we would come in and assist you guys with whatever other reports that you would want. It's a server, so we could write all sorts of different, reports for all sorts of stuff. We do a lot of different things for different applications and different customers. What type of report makes sense to you to have on a weekly basis, a daily basis, whatever it might be. In your case, like I said, the OR, that'd be the one that I can think of that would just constantly calculating your temperatures, humidity, and pressure for a report that somebody might need to see. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in this little drop down arrow. This allows me to log out. I can X out, but if I log out here, it actually logs me out. If I X out, my credentials are still in the server for the next 30 minutes. Doesn't really do anything, but they're just there. So if somebody runs a report, they're going to say, hey, this guy didn't log out. He stayed there for 30 minutes. Under system options, this is where I'll set you guys up with credentials. Now, do you want each individual to have a separate credential, or you just want me to set something up for the hospital?
Separate.
A separate? Okay. What I normally do in that case is I'm going to click on operators, and then I'm just going to use your first name's capital letter for the first letter as your user and password, and then I'm going to click on a little box that says change your password the first time you log on. So you'll always be your first name as your user, and your password will be whatever you guys want to make it. Okay. Before I do that, let me go in here and set up the security so that you don't have to type a million characters in there. Privilege sets, it's under, where's it under? System settings, here it is, security. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Okay. All right. So we only have one in here. I'm going to set myself up just separately as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to make myself an installer, which means I can add, remove controllers, do all that kind of stuff. Notice I got this installer tab over here. You guys don't want that, because you don't want to accidentally remove a controller from your system. Okay? So what I'm going to set you guys up, let's start with Andrew.
Sure.
Okay. All right. And your password the first time is going to be Andrew. And then no, your first letter, just like you'd spell it, with capital A.
Okay.
Yep. And then I'm going to say force user to change password at login. And I'm going to make all you guys what we call power users. Okay. Which means you can do all the trending, you can add schedules, you can do set points, all that kind of stuff. Just about everything I'm doing today, except for going in and making a mistake and removing a controller from the network, something like that. Okay. So you guys will be power users. Profile password, yeah, whatever. Okay, so you should be in there. Let's add another one. Who's next?
Tony.
Tony? T-O-N-Y?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So same thing. It'll be Tony and Tony first time in. And then it'll ask you to change your password, capital T. What this is saying is it doesn't think your password's strong enough. All right.
Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N.
Okay. And if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to set Ryan up in here too, because he's going to be needing to get in to do stuff when he sets up the OR. And you're just going to be Ryan. Ryan, I'll do the same thing with making you change your password when you log in first time. I'm setting you up as an installer so you can go in and add the controllers and all that. I'll work with you on it.
Can we add Matt as well?
Add who?
Matt.
Matt, M-A-T-T.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
No.
Should be everybody. Okay. All right. Let's just test one real quick. We'll try Andrew to start with. I won't change it. I'm just going to log out and go in as Andrew. It should come up and say, hey, you need to change your password. There it is. Change your password. I'm just going to hit cancel so you can do that next time you go in.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is just Chrome saying, hey, you want to save your passwords, all that, and you can save it. If on your computer, if you want to save yours, then it automatically will populate it for you when you go in. Okay.
All right.
All right.
From any computer in the system.
Any computer that's
that's-
on your network, that's correct. The 10.18.4.11. Yep. As long as you're internal to the network.
Okay.
And like I said, when we get done with the OR, we'll talk to your IT folks and see
So we
if
look
they
at
want
a few more
to
offices
give us
that
a
I've
lot.
known.
Sure, absolutely.
They've
Medical
complained.
records.
Medical records and Lacey are two that I know. Got any other ones?
Oh, pharmacy, medical records. I didn't know about Lacey.
The one that says 74 up there.
Which floor?
215.
I'm sorry to bother you real quick.
That one right there.
Is that up there is because you're in the system?
04DD. Where would we be in that one? Let's look at that.
We would be on basement, and we are number 5. Right there. Above that, there you go.
I'm not sure. It's almost like it's got a, what do you call it, code. No error. 04DD. Let's do this. Let's change the set point. Let's bump it down one. Let's see what happens. Curious.
Is that one number 4 in there?
It's almost like it's showing you the.
Yes, 4 and it's number 4 and number 5. So right here. You have to change your password the first time. That's your username, and that's your password to get in the first time. You have to change it. That's your login the first time.
You got Matt on that too?
Yep.
Let me send somebody a note on it real quick.
So it's the second. It's the second. Clayton and
Yeah, that's your
oh,
username.
username. Okay, and that's
That's
my
your
password.
password.
Gotcha. I'm with you. Gotcha. Thank you.
Alright. I just sent my VRF guy a note. Yeah, I mean, it's working. It says it's 71 degrees. And you got an 04DD up there. That sounds like some kind of code. Flip it back. almost like it's in
Defrost. It might be in
or
defrost.
some kind of a. Let's go look real quick here. See if there's anything here that shows us. RC lock unlocked.
It might be this one because this has got TD on it. This one's got the numbers on it, doesn't it? It might be number 4.
Oh, different one.
Yes, sir. But they're both right off that thermostat.
Same thing though. Yeah.
Mode conflict.
DD mode conflict.
That's another thing that we've been having problems with in the medical records. They would change the thermostat and it wouldn't reach both units. One would change and the other one wouldn't.
Really? Okay.
Did you have that error before, or did it just happen?
No, that's the first time I've ever seen it.
There's our issue. Okay. DD mode conflict. I'll have to look it up and see. I'll get with Dustin, see if there's something going on with that. It looks like it's running. It's just giving us this error code, and of course, doesn't really give you much. If that happens in out there, you know, somebody's going to be screaming.
Could be the smell of that paint.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Can't
What were the?
Can't breathe.
What was the other one you were looking at? You said basement,
First floor.
first floor.
It would be
So the one that says 74, 215.
11 and 12.
11 and 12.
Yes, sir.
They're too cold, right?
Yeah, they're too cold.
Yeah, well, look how low that is. 64, 68.
Yep.
You want to bump that up?
Yes, sir.
What do you want to take it to?
Do 71 to 75.
Okay.
And when you change, say 11 and 12 are on the same one, on the same stat. When you
need
change,
to
say
do
you
both
change
of them.
11, do you have to change
Yeah.
the 12 as well?
You'll have to do 12 as well.
Okay.
Yep. From here, you will.
Okay.
Yes. 71, 75. Yeah, if they're on the same one, you should change them both from here. Let's see if Jeremy just answered me. See if
Did
he
Roy
knows
call you?
something.
You tell you. I'm gonna call him back real quick.